Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Simon.
How are you on this merry day?
I'm recovering nicely, thank you very much. You may remember the last time I had a cold.
Yes, an entire week ago. That was, you're sounding much better.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Good job.
I've been putting things up my nose.
Haven't we all? And hello to everyone who is here listening. We hope you're well. For those who have stumbled across this for the first time, my name's Simon Wells.
Yeah, I know.
And that guy over there is called Bruce Fielding. And we're both professional voiceover artists. We say things for a living.
Yes, we encourage people, we explain, we treat, we send people to sleep.
We educate, we entertain, we do all that sort of voicey, lovely stuff.
The voicey stuff.
Voicey stuff. So that's how we know each other. We met over voiceover, but we stayed for the facts.
Absolutely right.
Turns out we're both nerds. We're both pub quizzers.
Sadly.
And that's what we're doing here. We're here to divulge a load of useful-ish knowledge on a particular topic for you, our dear listeners.
And especially at the moment if you're travelling somewhere.
Yes, if you happen to be on a long journey.
Yes, or even a short one.
Either way. And you need to have something to listen to entertain you as you're chugging along.
Yes, on a train.
Indeed.
What we normally do is we normally try and take a fairly simple subject and explain it for about half an hour.
Yes.
Or we take a really complicated subject and we shorten it down to half an hour. Train, I think, falls into the latter.
Very much the latter, yes. This could very easily have made an entire series of episodes.
Well, in fact, there are TV series all about trains, aren't there?
There are, yes. From Michael Portillo travelling around with his Victorian Bradshaw's timetable to all sorts, yeah.
All sorts of strange people on trains. What's a train?
In terms of the things that run along the tracks, the train is the whole thing. It's a series of carriages linked together and attached to some form of engine or locomotive that pulls or pushes it along. So it's the whole thing. And it comes from, we often come to the etymology point and say this is a really boring word. It's always meant this. This is the opposite. This hasn't always meant this. The word train comes from the 14th century, and it's originally French, traîneur, from the Latin verb trahere, meaning to pull or to draw along. So you can sort of see the connection, you know.
Yes.
The locomotive pulls a whole load of carriages and that's a train.
Yes.
But originally it was used in reference to the long flowing part of a dress or a skirt or a cloak. That was your train.
Yes, like a wedding dress.
Precisely that, yeah.
You know, the length of the train on a wedding dress says how wealthy you are.
Oh, really?
Or it used to.
Ah.
So it basically says, I can afford to spend a whole load of cash on a piece of fabric that nobody can ever use for anything else, and it's going to get dirty, and I don't care because I'm so rich that I can afford to spend all that money on 30 feet of fabric that doesn't matter.
That's purely a showpiece.
Yes, I mean, the longer it was, I mean, royalty was allowed to have a certain length, and nobody was allowed to go longer than royalty.
Sure, yes. So that's where it comes from. It comes from fashion, really. It then sort of became a series of things, so a train of thoughts, a train of events.
A train of camels.
Sure, exactly. A caravan train.
Yes.
It then sort of became, that ended up being linked to trail and track, so all those words that sort of, and travel even, anything that begins with a TRA, they're all connected. It then became to draw out and make your plants grow in a particularly desired way. So training your plants. And then that became to train someone, to teach someone, to educate someone.
Oh, to pull them along with you.
Yeah, to sort of draw them out into a particularly desired direction by giving them education. So all of those things are related. And then obviously eventually it became the word train that we know now, but not until several hundred years later when trains were invented. So it's had quite a long history before it got to what it means now.
Cool. So who invented the train then?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Every schoolboy knows who invented the train.
Well, then every schoolboy is wrong.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't Stevenson then?
Well, it was and it wasn't. Largely it wasn't. So it's another one of those inventions that has had lots of different people contributing to it, and then one person comes along and takes all the credit. Think Edison and the light bulb.
Okay.
Bell and the telephone.
Yes.
It was a whole series of different things. So before a steam engine was used to pull a train, a steam engine was just used to operate machinery. It was a static thing, you know.
The James Watt thing.
Right, so we all know James Watt invented the static steam engine.
Did he?
No, he didn't.
Oh, damn. This is terrible.
It is,
We keep on disillusioning people. We must stop doing that.
So there was a fella from Devon called Thomas Newcomen.
Okay.
Who pretty much definitely did invent the steam engine of some sort. James Watt came along and improved it. So his steam engine had a big wheel on it, which could then be attached to a drive belt that could then be attached to lots of other things.
Okay.
And that was used to pump water out of mines. It was used to operate machinery in cotton mills and all sorts of things. And his was the most famous, and he got the patent for the idea of attaching this to something with wheels that could pull something along. And he got the patent for the steam locomotive in 1784. So, to all intents and purposes, yes, James Watt invented the train. Let's go with that. But it's not quite as simple as that.
No. Because the first train was the Stockton to Darlington train, wasn't it?
Yes and no.
Oh, God. Come on, Simon.
Right. The first commercially successful passenger train was the one you just said. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so September 1825.
Right.
And this was the first locomotive-hauled railway in the world.
Yes.
From Stockton to Darlington, and it used George Stephenson's Locomotion 1 to pull it.
Locomotion 1, what a great name.
Isn't it? Everybody's doing the Locomotion 1.
So I've heard, yes.
But the oldest locomotive in existence, you can actually still see.
Oh, can you?
At the Science Museum. It's called Puffing Billy.
Oh, Puffing Billy, yes, I've heard of that.
Yes. So you're saying that the Stockton to Darlington, Stephenson's Locomotion 1, all a load of nonsense, right?
No, totally valid.
Good.
Totally the first recognisable, commercially successful passenger railway service that took people from place A to place B was that.
Oh, good.
But it was preceded by, again, lots of other little different things. There was a fella called Richard Trevithick from Cornwall.
Yes.
And he was sort of one of the first people who came up with the idea of putting people on a wagon or something on the back of a locomotive to pull them along. And that was in 1804, so quite a long while before that. And he built an engine called Catch Me Who Can.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that a great name for a train? How
fast did it go?
A whopping 12 to 15 miles per hour.
I could catch it.
There you go. Hop on your bike. And he created this thing with the help of some other engineers in 1808, and he built a circus. Please see our previous episode on circuses. He built a steam circus in Bloomsbury, and he created this circular track, 100 feet in diameter, and he plopped this locomotive, Catch Me Who Can, on this track, and it went round and round in circles. And it was a novelty thing. People came along and they paid a shilling to get on the back of this thing and ride on this railway. What an absolute novelty, never been done before. But it wasn't commercially successful. He went bankrupt. All sorts of stuff happened. And then, 15, 20 years later, we have the fully recognised Darlington railway service that you stated. So it's been built upon things that were built upon things.
Fair enough. So from there to the bullet train, there's obviously quite a lot of in-between stuff.
Yeah, some things must have happened, mustn't they?
So we went from steam trains to electric trains and diesel trains.
Yeah, all in the attempt of making them stronger to pull more load, making them faster to get people places quicker.
Yes. Can we talk about India for a second?
Oh, yes, let's.
Because the Indian railways are quite interesting.
I know nothing about the Indian railways, so...
Do you not?
Teach on.
Okay. Well, are you sitting comfortably?
Reasonably so.
Then I'll begin. The Indian railways have the second largest rail network in the world.
Do they really?
Indian Railways is one of the world's largest commercial employers.
Huh.
1.7 million employees.
Million.
1.7 million.
Goodness.
So 1.4 million regular employees and 300,000 casuals.
Man.
They have, of those people, they're classed by class 1 to class 4.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2,500 doctors, 55,000 paramedics.
Huh.
Basically, it was the Victorians that encouraged the Indians to build the railways.
Yeah. Encouraged.
Let's say encouraged.
You're not suggesting that during the days of British rule we forced them to do so, are you?
Nope.
Good.
I wouldn't say that.
Good.
The mascot of the Indian Railways is an elephant, which symbolises safety and reliability. However,
that's what I think when I look at an elephant.
yes, I mean, the railways aren't particularly. Sometimes they aren't safe when you're building them.
I suppose not.
There's one on the Ugandan railways that was built. I mean, moving away from the Indians for a bit. The Ugandans wanted a railway built to Lake Victoria.
Okay.
And they needed a bridge over the Savo River.
Okay.
And they employed lots of people to build this bridge. Unfortunately, they built it very close to where two man-eating lions had their home.
Okay.
And the man-eating lions killed 135 people.
Wow.
In the building of this bridge over the Savo River.
Man.
Eventually they were shot, and you can see them. Their skins are on display at the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago.
Of course they are. Wow. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
Okay, so slightly perilous to... I thought we were sort of going to encounter, landslides or explosions or falling machinery or things like that. I was not expecting man-eating lions. Very good.
Now, I'm going to talk about songs and films later on.
Okay.
But while we're at the beginning, there was a film, one of the earliest films made by the Lumière brothers, which is called L'arrivée d'un train en gare de La Ciotat.
Très bien.
Which is 1896, which featured a steam train pulling into the station. Okay. And the rumour is that as the audience watched the train pulling into the station on screen, they ran screaming from the theatre, thinking that it was actually a real train coming to run them over.
Wow. Can I imagine if they'd had 3D glasses and surround sound at the time?
Oh, God. Yes.
I expect there are probably quite a lot of songs, movies, etc., that involve trains. It's similar to the roads and cars and so on. There's always sort of a long train journey.
Well, why don't we get into that now, and then we can come back to trains later?
Okay, go on then. Fine.
Because one of my favourite songs, because of the call and response way it works, is not normal. It's a very unusual call and response. It's called Midnight Plane to Houston.
On a midnight train to Georgia. No, that's different.
No, that's what it was changed to.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was just joking.
So it was originally given to Whitney Houston's auntie.
Right.
Who thought that A, they didn't take planes, and B, having the word Houston in the title probably wasn't a good idea.
Okay.
So they changed it to Midnight Train, and since Whitney Houston's auntie was in Georgia, they changed it to Georgia.
Brilliant.
But actually, what the song's about is those listeners of a certain age will remember both of these names. It was actually about Lee Majors, who played the $6 Million Man.
Yes, sure.
And his girlfriend at the time, a woman called Farrah Fawcett.
Right.
Who you may know from the first series of Charlie's Angels.
Oh, yes, okay. Big blonde bouffant hair.
That's the one.
Yes.
Anyway, so a friend of Lee Majors rang him up, and Farrah Fawcett answered the phone. And he said, "Oh, hi, what are you up to?" And she said, I'm getting the midnight plane to Houston to go and visit my family.
Right.
And he thought, midnight plane to Houston? And he was a songwriter, so he wrote a song about
Yeah.
it, and then changed the name to Midnight Train to Georgia.
Fantastic. On a midnight plane to Houston. It fits the pattern, but it just doesn't sound quite right, does it?
No, but the call and response of it is, if you're careful and listen to it, the call and response actually takes the story forward. It doesn't always repeat the same thing again. It sometimes says something completely different. It's a really interesting song structurally.
Right, okay. I'll have to give it another listen.
But there are lots and lots and lots of songs. In fact, when I'll put a list. We have show notes.
Oh, yes, we do.
So if you go to factoraly.com.
Factoraly.com?
Mm-hmm. And you go to the blog, and you'll find a whole load of useless information, even more useless information than we give you in 30 minutes here.
Would you even believe that's possible?
It's crazy. Meanwhile, back on the train, how far have we got with trains? We're sort of getting there, aren't we, towards today's trains?
Yeah, we sort of got through to the Stephensons. I find the Stephensons confusing because there are two of them. So you mentioned George Stephenson built Locomotion 1 for the Darlington Railway. His son, Robert Stephenson, then built the famous rocket.
Right. Not Robert Louis Stevenson.
No, totally different.
Okay.
I thought that for a minute as well. And there was a competition held near Liverpool, I think it was, called the Rainhill Trials, in which various inventors and producers entered their steam locomotions to see who could win the race to sort of go this particular distance, all of 1 mile.
Yeah.
And Robert Stephenson's rocket won it, and therefore he got the contract to produce steam engines for Great Britain, Ireland, the United States, and a good half of Europe.
Bloody hell.
So the Stephensons became very, very prolific in the production of steam locomotives.
I would imagine fairly rich as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goodness me.
And they sort of dominated steam train production for a good chunk of the 1800s. And then that leads me to one of my favourite trains. I love this. This is one of my favourite London-related facts. You think of your own personal favourite train. You might think of Hogwarts Express. You might think of the Orient Express. Any of these things. My favourite train carries dead bodies.
Oh, this is the one out of London to the yes.
That's the
Go
one.
ahead. I love this story.
So in the first half of the 1800s, due to a lot of different factors, London's population doubled. All of a sudden, there were, a couple of million people living in London. And when they passed away, the little churches and graveyards just weren't enough to cope with the excess number of bodies.
Right.
So they started building larger cemeteries outside of town, and the biggest one they built was Brookwood Cemetery near Woking, which was open to the public in 1854. At the time, it was the largest cemetery in the world. It was just huge. And how do you get all of London's deceased to Woking? You put on a train service. So Brookwood Cemetery was known as the London Necropolis, which is just a gorgeous sounding title. And so they put on a train service called the Necropolis Line. So there was a dedicated train that went from a separate station just round the corner from Waterloo to a dedicated platform inside Brookwood Cemetery to carry coffins and the mourners with it. They had different classes. You had a first, second and third class carriage for the family, but you also had a first, second and third class carriage for the deceased. So depending on how rich you were, you could put your coffin into the relevant class carriage.
Plush, yes.
Indeed. And this ran for quite a long time. So it opened in 1854. It only stopped during World War II, when the station and a section of the line was irreparably damaged by bombs. And they decided it wasn't really popular enough and would cost too much to reopen. But yeah, so sort of for nigh on 90 years, you could get a train full of dead people going from London to Surrey. And you can still see the front of the old station. It's at 121 Westminster Bridge Road in London. It's now got offices above it, but it quite clearly says London Necropolis Railway Station on it.
How about that?
Fascinating.
That's wonderful. Dedicated railways are always fun. I mean, we talked about the Orient Express when we talk about films. There was one called the Blue Train.
Okay. What colour was it?
Not always blue, actually, but mostly blue.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the Wagon Lee. It was from the same company that made the Orient Express.
Okay, right.
And it was from Calais down to the south of France.
Nice.
And so when you were British and you wanted to escape down to the south, down to Cannes and Nice and Saint-Tropez, you'd get the Blue Train.
Right.
And all the youngsters in the 20s went, I bet you I can beat the train.
Okay.
In my blower Bentley. So there's a famous race between a blower Bentley and the Blue Train from the south of France, from Nice to, actually to London.
Right.
Or to Calais. But the Bentley was so much faster than the train. The Bentley actually got to London in the same amount of time it took the train to get to Calais.
Oh, really?
So using the ferry.
Yes, of course.
To get across, obviously, no tunnel.
No tunnel at the time.
No. But
wow.
So chasing the Blue Train. The Blue Train was kind of a thing. The restaurant, there was a couple of restaurants in the world were named Blue Train. I think there's one in America.
Right.
I think the Eiffel Tower, one of the Eiffel Tower restaurants is called the Blue Train.
Okay. How
so it's
interesting.
Very sort of lush and plush.
Yes. Trains have a good market in luxury travel, don't they? They're there for the common folk. They're there for the mass commute. But you do get some pretty luxurious trains. You get that... is it in Canada or in Switzerland? You've got a train that has a glass roof.
Both.
Is it both?
Yes.
To make the most of the beautiful views. You sort of picture these old trains like the Orient Express with their dining cars and their bar cars and all these sorts of things.
Yes.
It just sounds... Yeah, absolutely. The velvet curtains and the sprung cushioned seats.
Yes.
And it just sounds gorgeous.
Bone china.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds gorgeous.
I have done it once.
Oh, have you?
Yes, which was very nice.
Where did you go?
I went to Liverpool.
Okay.
On the Pullman train.
Right.
And had the most luscious breakfast. It was very, very... I mean, I was a guest of Aintree.
Right.
And basically they organised for us to go up on this dedicated train from King's Cross to Liverpool. And then we got onto a coach and we had like police outriders escorting us to the race course, which was quite nice.
It sounds it, yeah.
You know the bullet train?
Yes.
The one that goes from Tokyo?
Yeah.
In fact, they go all over the shop now.
Yeah.
And they hit like 200 miles an hour.
Crikey. That's a fast old train, isn't it?
That's a very fast train.
Are they the magnetic ones?
So some of the Japanese trains use maglev, magnetic levitation. So they actually don't even use a track, they float above the track. Yes. Rather than relying on wheels.
Yeah, so to minimise the friction.
So hardly any friction. They just go like bullets.
Like a bullet, as the name suggests.
So obviously you need very highly trained people to look after those things, especially when they get to stations.
Yeah.
One of the stations on the bullet train route is a Kishi station. And the official station master at Kishi was a cat called Tama.
Okay.
And Tama-san, suddenly the cat population in Japan just rocketed. And there's a whole load of Tama-san merch, right, and various things. Tama-san was paid in cat food, and is buried in a shrine and has actually been made a god.
Oh my goodness!
I on the show notes I will put the story of Tama.
Yeah.
The official station master. After he was dead, he became like a super station master, then an ultra station master. He was absolutely crazy.
And presumably, this was just a local cat that happened to spend an awful lot of time at this particular station and got adopted by the people who worked there.
It was a station cat.
Great. Like Skimble Shanks.
Oh, good call.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good. Trains nowadays have carriages with corridors, so you can walk from place to place. Whereas originally they had like independent, separate carriages.
Yes, that's right.
So you'd have like 6 to a carriage.
Yes.
There was a guy called Gerald Tyrwhitt. He's actually Lord Berners. And for his time, very forward-thinking. He was gay. He lived with a chap who was married to another girl, and they had children. But he decided that he only ever wanted to have a carriage to himself.
Okay.
So he would get into a carriage, and he'd start sort of sniffing and coughing, and then he'd decide to take his temperature.
Right.
Anally.
Oh. I mean,
which cleared the carriages out quite quickly.
How odd?
So Lord Berners would do this.
Huh.
It's a very strange man.
It's amazing how eccentric you can be when you've got a lot of money.
Isn't it? Isn't it? So trains generally are sort of made up of several carriages.
Yes.
And I saw a train once that was made up of 169 vehicles.
What?
Yeah. So there used to be a train called the Lee Creek Monster.
Right.
In Australia.
Okay.
That hauled coal from Lee Creek to Port Augusta.
Right.
And it did this right up until 2016. And there's a place called Parachilna that had a hotel where you could watch this coal train come past, and you could have like a glass of wine or beer or something. And it took about 4 or 5 minutes for the whole train to go past.
Wow.
And at the hotel, they served kind of weird food. So you could have like emu and kangaroo and snake and stuff at the hotel. But it was, I mean, I bought a cap to remind me of this event.
Yeah.
It was quite something to see this train just keep going. You looked into the distance and you couldn't see the end of the train.
Yeah, yeah.
It's absolutely huge.
That's amazing, isn't it? I've seen something similar in South Dakota in America. And again, they're always freight trains, you know. But they are just so flipping long. You know, we had to wait at this level crossing for what seemed like an eternity. And the train wasn't in a particular hurry.
No.
But it just, you know, it gave out that iconic, very American-sounding train whistle.
Oh,
and
nice.
the sort of the slow trundling thud and the churn and screech of the wheels, and it just went on and on and on. It was carrying timber and all sorts of things. It was, quite impressive.
So that brings us to the elephant in the room, obviously, or the number one engine in the room.
Right.
Who we have to talk about, because we couldn't do an episode on trains.
Oh, you know, Bruce.
Without talking about Thomas.
Oh, mate. I don't know whether to admire you slightly more or slightly less now.
Have you ever heard of Thomas?
Have I ever heard of Thomas? I was a product of the 1980s, Bruce. I grew up on Thomas.
Okay. Well, Thomas was actually invented in 1945.
Was he really? Didn't know that.
So the first book, it's Wilbert Vere Awdry.
Right.
He wrote them as bedtime stories for his son Christopher.
Okay.
And he published the first book called The Three Railway Engines.
Right.
In 1945.
Huh.
And it was inspired by a wooden toy that he'd actually made by hand for his son.
Right.
There's interesting things like, you know, it's got the letters NW on it.
Yeah.
Which now I think they make it mean Northwestern Railway.
Right, okay.
But actually it originally stood for nowhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Thomas was number one because number one's easiest to paint on a train.
Sure.
And they were a lot of the characters were based on people. So the Fat Controller was based on the Reverend Teddy Boston.
Was he?
And Gordon the Grumpy Train was named Christopher, after a grumpy pal of Christopher's called Christopher.
Oh, right, okay.
And Sodor is just a name that Awdry made up.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting thing. They did a study, and autistic children are able to connect very powerfully with Thomas, and the simple facial expressions of Thomas and his friends, they help children with autism to understand displays of emotion.
Oh, brilliant.
And so actually Mattel introduced Bruno, a brake car, which was the first autistic character in Thomas and Friends.
Oh, really? Oh, fantastic.
But it didn't hit the TVs until 84.
Yeah, yeah.
In the UK anyway, certainly.
That was my childhood. I remember, you know, long before I'd ever heard of the Beatles, I heard Ringo Starr narrating Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
It was just gorgeous, and all the different coloured engines. You had Percy was the little green one, and James was the red one, and gorgeous. Yeah, loved it.
But they had different people doing the voices in America.
Okay, yes.
So in this country, after Ringo Starr finished, I think at one point they had Pierce Brosnan doing a
Did they?
narration. They had all sorts of strange, interesting people doing
Brilliant.
narration on Thomas.
Do you know they renamed the Fat Controller?
No. Why?
There's a more recent version of Thomas the Tank Engine, which is a little bit CGI. It doesn't look right at all.
Yeah.
And they've decided that the Fat Controller is not politically correct to single someone out on the basis of their size. So they've actually given him a name. His name is Sir Topham Hatt, which almost does the same thing. It's singling him out for the fact that he wears a top hat rather than because he's large. But there you
Is
go.
he still large, though?
He still looks exactly the same. Yeah. But he's known in the show as Sir Topham Hatt.
But it's a very good way of selling merch.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, the first Thomas products were sold in 1957.
Really?
Which were cardboard kits for kids to put together.
Okay.
And they have a day out. They have a US-based day out with Thomas in Wisconsin. Started in 1996.
Okay.
It's just a money-making machine.
I didn't realise he was that popular in America.
Massively popular in America.
Huh. There's one variety of train which I'll touch on very briefly because it's an equally big subject and might warrant its own episode at some point. But the Underground.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
Well, yeah. Trains don't just go on the surface; they go under the surface as well. And the London Underground system was opened in 1863, which is much longer ago than you'd really think. And it was originally powered by steam trains. They used the cut and cover method of digging a tunnel. So they dug a trench and then covered it over. So they were relatively a short distance below the earth, and the tunnels were quite large in order to fit these big steam trains. The carriages were open topped. There was no ventilation, so the whole
they
tunnel
went dark in tunnels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever been in a tunnel in a train with the lights off?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
it's very weird.
It's quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then do that and fill it with smoke and soot and zero ventilation. It sounds a bit hazardous, but
that
that's
would have
the way
been from Baker Street to Waterloo.
Yeah, apparently the Metropolitan line was the first one to open up.
Right.
Just to ease congestion. Again, with that population boom came an awful lot of people toing and froing on the streets by horse and cart, and things were getting a bit congested. So they opened the Underground. And then after they'd sort of developed their technology a bit, the tunnels got deeper and narrower and more circular, which is what gave rise to the nickname the Tube. But the idea that they actually used to be powered by steam trains seems so far-fetched, doesn't it? We're all so used to them being electric, but
and clean.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and now that idea has obviously gone all over the world.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we're not the only ones who have that.
Did you know that the London, certainly until recently, but the London Underground used to make more money from sales of the map than from tickets?
Really?
Yeah, because they own the rights to the tube map.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So they would get money in from people using the tube map.
Oh, that's great.
So we've got the world's oldest. Are there any ests? Are there any train records?
We've got a few train records. There are actually an awful lot of them because trains come in different classes and sizes and things.
Oh, God.
So for each record, you get the fastest passenger train, fastest freight train, fastest train over or under a particular size or weight or whatever.
I've got one for you before we start.
Oh, go on.
So the longest railway platform bench.
Go on.
So the longest railway platform bench is in Scarborough.
Right.
At 456 feet long.
Crikey, is it really?
So you can seat 228 passengers.
Man.
At once on the bench.
That's incredible. And of course the longest train station name, and therefore train station name sign, is the Welsh one.
Been there.
I've been there as well. I can pronounce it, but I don't feel like doing so right now.
You don't want to upset any Welsh
I don't want to upset any Welsh folk now. No. So other than those, we've got the fastest train, which is, we sort of touched on earlier, you mentioned the Japanese bullet trains running on levitating magnets. This is a maglev train in China that goes to the Pudong International Airport. And in 2004, this train got up to 268 miles per hour.
Crikey.
which is reasonably fast.
That is can you imagine if there's something on the track?
Well, it's maglev. I suppose it would just hover over it.
Yes.
Don't know exactly how it works, but
Wow.
Yeah. You mentioned 160 odd carriages on your freight train?
Yes.
The world's longest passenger train contains 100 carriages.
That's a long train.
Isn't it? And that was operated by the Rhaetian Railway in Switzerland in 2022. That opened up, going up to the Swiss Alps. I tried to find the world's most expensive train fare with the likes of Orient Express and so on. I couldn't find a definitive answer, but I found a website that talked about the Golden Eagle Trans-Siberian Express and the Venice Orient Express and all these sorts of things. And it simply casually said their tickets range from $17,500 to $25,000 per person.
But you do get your own butler.
Oh, do you? Oh, well, that makes up for it then. That makes it worthwhile. Yes, those are my records.
Wow.
Well, I think all of my train-related facts have pulled up at the station.
Yes, mine have hit the buffers.
Thankfully, we've had no cancellations or delays. We hope you've enjoyed this show. If you have done so, please go ahead and give us a like and a lovely, shiny 5-star review.
Thank you very much. We appreciated that.
We do.
Obviously, you just did that, right?
You just did it as I was talking. Your fingers were already poised.
Or you can tell your friends.
Yes.
About Factoraly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, if you subscribe to Factoraly on your podcast player every Thursday, which is when they come out, you will be getting a notification that you have a new Factoraly to listen to.
Something to look forward to, isn't it?
I think so.
Well, thank you very much for coming along and listening to us talk about trains today. Please come again next time for another fun-filled episode of Factoraly. Bye for now.
Beep, beep.